So you guys were I'm hearing a lot of you guys wanted a theme song shortened, so here we go. This girl reviews movies, games, and books. Sometimes she plays them. So does that, and when she does it with the cat, does that make her crazy? Does that make her crazy? Probably. So, it's shorter. There you go. Crazy Cat Lady Gamer Reviewer or Martha Butler does not own any trailers or pictures. I use them under fair use, educational, for education and entertainment purposes.
Hi everybody, Martha here. So I know it's Halloween, I should be doing a Halloween movie, but sadly, it's changed because one of the greatest actors has passed away recently. So I decided to do a dedication to him, which the one who passed away is Sean Connery, James Bond himself. But since I'm not a big James Bond fan, I will show some clips of Sean Connery playing James Bond, like where he says, "Bond, James Bond," and he says, "Chicken, not stirred."
200 livres à la banque.
Suivi.
Banco suivi. Carte. 8 à la banque.
Suivi.
C'est suivi.
The house will cover the difference.
Bien, madame. Oui, monsieur. Changeur, s'il vous plaît. Carte. 9 à la banque.
I need another 1,000.
I admire your courage, Miss...
Trench. Sylvia Trench. I admire your luck, Mr.
Bond. James Bond.
Mr. Bond, I suppose you wouldn't care to, raise the limit?
I have no objections.
C'est pas possible, madame. C'est illégal, monsieur.
No.
C'est suivi, monsieur.
Looks like you're out to get me.
It's an idea at that. 8.
8 à la ponte. 9 à la banque.
Excuse me. Thank you. Andre, I must pass the shoe. Changer, I hope you'll forgive me, but it's most important. Thank you.
Merci, monsieur, pour les employés. Merci, madame.
Have those changed?
One medium dry vodka martini, mixed like you said, sir, and not stirred.
Thank you.
Anything else, sir?
No, that's all.
Dry martini, lemon peel, shaken, not stirred.
Vodka?
Of course.
Can I do something for you, Mr. Bond?
Just a drink.
That one I'll show on here for you guys, for all you James Bond fans. But like I said, I'm not a big James Bond fan, so I'm sorry. I don't know, I just never got really into those movies. But the movie I like that has Sean Connery in, well, the ones that I know of that I like, there's three of them. Is the one I'm doing is The Last Crusade, the Indiana Jones movie. I know I've not done Raiders of the Lost Ark or Temple of Doom for you guys yet, but Harrison Ford's still living, so I would want to have him be the one. If I was going to do a review for those two movies, I was going to have him be the one I honored. But since he's still kicking, I haven't done those two movies, so. But this is the one that has Sean Connery in it. And the other one I liked that he's in it was Dragonheart, where he plays a dragon. And also that Disney Irish movie, I don't remember the name of it right now, but it's one of Disney old movies where it's a good movie to watch during St. Patrick's Day. So let's get started with The Last Crusade and explain what happens. So Indiana Jones is not very happy with his dad, who Sean Connery plays, because he cares more about finding the Holy Grail than trying to be a dad to him. So a lot of times he's just trying to get his dad attention by finding a cross that should belong in a museum. And when he's about, I would say, 15 or 16 in the beginning of the movie, and when he finally gets to his dad and shows him the cross, he just tells him to count to 10 in a different language. Because he doesn't really care. He's just looking at a book. His journal that has to do with the Holy Grail. And then we see Indiana Jones as an adult. But I guess they kind of want to explain how he got his fedora. Indiana Jones got his fedora through this story. And his first time he was able to, when he wanted to have his first archaeologist item to one at the museum, but he failed at it. And he finally finds it and gives it to Marcus. And this is when he hears from the Ludismal, I think that's how you say his name, that his dad's looking for the Holy Grail, and his dad's missing because he went out telling his son about that he might find out where it is. So they go to Italy, which that one of the knights who went after the Holy Grail was buried, Sir Richard, and they go down to his grave through a library, and by finding like 3 Roman numerals, like number 3, the number 7, and number 10, like X marks the spot, which is not ironic that he says that, because earlier he was telling his students that X never marks the spot, but right then it literally did, since X is the Roman numeral for 10. So he goes down there, he sees like a bunch of rats and stuff like that, and he finds the second part of where the Holy Grail would be, and they find out that it's Tenetla, something like that. And so they have Dr. Chandler, I think her name is with him, and he like writes down a paper, rubbers on the paper so he can have it there, on their flash. But somebody starts fire and have fire of rats like running towards them, and he has to get out of there with her. And so they swim out of there through the sewers and get back out of there. And then they have a little boat fight. And the one who's fighting them explains, nobody should have the Grail. It's only meant for God. It's only meant for Jesus. So that's why he is trying to make sure that Indy does not get them. Indy, nobody gets them. So that's why he's trying to kill him. And then they go back to the room, and somebody ransacks both Indy's and hers room. And so he figures out where his father is, that he's in Austria, and they go and find him, and he is inside like a building, and he hits Andy with a vase, and they find out that the girl, Dr. Chandler, is not who she says she was. She's the one who ransacked the room, and she's also a Nazi. Well, like both Raiders and Last Crusade has to do with Nazis. We even have Hitler in this movie, a guy who's playing at Hitler, because once Foreline gets the book back from Indy, after we find out that she's a bad guy, and she gives them to one of the Nazis, and the guy who hired Indiana Jones was also with the bad guys. They were just they figured that he'd be the one that has Henry's journal, because Henry would trust his son for it, and he did bring him back to them. But he tore up some pages and gave it to Marcus. But Marcus was not the best person to trust with him. He ends up getting captured not too long afterwards, and they end up with a map. But that's the pages that they torn out. And you also see one of Indy's old friends that was from Raiders of Lobart's Art, who is played by Davis, who played Davis, who also, if you look at this guy carefully, he's also plays Gimli in Lord of the Rings. This guy does. So here he plays an Arab. So this movie, so they they almost get themselves burned, Indy and Henry, because they were tied up to two chairs. Indy tells them to grab his lighter so they can burn the rope that they're tied around to get them off that way. But Henry drops the lighter and starts the building they're in on fire. So Indy goes to the fireplace and figures out that's a secret passageway, and by pushing one of the fireplace's holders, and find out that leads to a room where a lot of the other Nazis are. And so he breaks through the rope and stuff like that, and gets out that way. So the Nazis follow him down, and they think that he takes a boat, but he actually takes a motorcycle and a little holder that Henry sits in, and they drive off that way. They had to escape that way, and basically he has to tell them go back to Berlin because we need to get the map from them. So we can't let Hitler have the map. So they end up going to where we see a bunch of poor books being burned because Hitler has something against books. So we see like a big fire of books being burned. So yeah, and he goes and gets the diary from Dr. Chandler. I don't probably say her name wrong. I'm not. I know, I probably am. So I don't know why. But anyway, he gets journal from her, and the one thing is weird that she does both of them. She has slept with both Henry and Henry Jones. She's a sick B word. The fact that she's done the dad and the son. Gross. So, and they end up he brings the journal back to his dad, and they go on a blimp to escape. But the head Nazi follows them and tries to get on the blimp, but the blimp tries to turn around, and so they get on a plane. Henry finally learns how, and Jones finally learned how to fly a plane, because in case you didn't remember, in Temple of Doom he couldn't fly a plane. He couldn't do it. The plane hit the mountain in that one, so he made sure this time around, I'll get my fly slide lens and know how to fly this time. But he does not know how to land very well, so he's basically Launchpad. So, I don't know, I think he did a better job of Launchpad did, though. So, he lands on the floor, on the ground, but it's not really his fault they crashed. Because Henry can't shoot a barge on the barn, because there was two planes chasing them, and he was the one in charge of the ammunition. And he shot the tail of the plane that they were in. So, yeah, instead of shooting the two planes, they're chasing them. Great job, Henry! So, they end up landing in front of a sheep, and then they have to come running away because there's still the planes are chasing them. And so Henry gets a great idea by using buzzards, seagulls, to make them be blinded by seagulls and hit the mountain. So that's how he escapes from them. They escape from them, and so they had to go save Marcus. So they go and talk to Indy's old friend, the Arab, and they end up going and find Marcus. So, and they have to do battle on a tank, and most of the Nazis died that was there, except for the one who betrayed Indy and the girl. So they end up. We think that we do a fake out death because we see Indy go over a cliff, but Indy's not gonna die. They wouldn't kill Indy because there's the dumb fourth movie that nobody likes. Anyway, and he regrets stuff, Henry, and stuff like that. So he's dead for like 5 minutes. It turns out he wasn't. So they go and look for the Grail. And they end up in the mountain, in like a little tomb area. And the donor shoots Henry, so Henry would go through the trials to go and get the Grail. And he does like do the word of God, like he has to spell out Jehovah, and he has to like do a leap of faith. And while that Donut and Dr. Chandler is following them behind and getting through that way by landing Henry the booby traps. And when they get there, they find one of the last night, still alive after 700 years, and they end up. Donor does a guess. Really, he asks Dr. Chandler to do it, and she picks a really fancy cup, and it ends up being wrong. He ends up aging right in front of us and turning to dust, and that's like probably that scene is pretty scary. That scene could probably get kids nightmares. So there's your nightmare scene for people who want me to review a Halloween movie on this day. There's your nightmare scene. That scene is scary. Watching this guy age right in front of you, turn into a skeleton, then turn to dust and exploding basically. That part is pretty scary. So yeah. And then we hear the knight say, he chores poorly. And so he ends up. And then Indy ends up choosing the right cup because he picks the cup that Jesus would probably drink out of. Because remember, Jesus was not rich, so he would not have a cup that looks made out of gold and stuff like that. He'd have a cup made out of wood. He was a carpenter. He was not rich, so the Holy Grail would not look nice. It would look bad. So yeah, so there. And so he grabs the one made out of wood and drinks out that one. And that one works. And the knight says, you chose wisely. So he ends up reading that one and pours that one on the wound. Unless his dad drank it. And his dad's cured. But he can't take the Grail out of the tomb. Because it can't leave that area. So Elsa tries to take the Grail out of there. But she ends up causing a cave-in. And she is dying because she wants to grab the Grail still. Even though she should not do that. And Andy almost falls down too, but Henry tells him, let it go. So they end up all, Indy, Henry, Marcus, and Herb ends up leaving, and the Herb laughs at Indy at the fact that he picks the dog's name over his dad's name. So I know I'm sorry that and this movie is really good. I know I had a hard time remembering some of these characters' names, but some of these characters' names are hard to remember and pronounce because they're from different countries. I'm sorry. So, I'm gonna give it, out of the 3 good Indiana Jones movies, because I don't really care for the 4th one. That one sucks. That one should not exist. Okay? I was not alive during any of them, but I don't like the one I was alive during, okay? But out of this one, I like Temple of Doom the best, but I would say this one's a good second favorite. They get like better as they go along, basically. But I'm going to give this movie for Sean Connery, rest in peace. You Scottish guy, and I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10. Sully. What do you give this movie? I give this a movie over paws in my tail. So we'll miss you, Sean Connery. You were the best James Bond. Yeah. Best James Bond. Yeah. Robert Morris is good, but Sean Connery's the best James Bond. So we'll see you guys later. We love you, Sean Connery. Bye-bye.